You have two voices inside you. One speaks too loudly. It rises when you feel threatened, when you feel ignored, when you feel like the room is not listening. It says sharp things. It wins the moment and loses the relationship. The other voice says nothing at all. It swallows the truth, nods when it means no, agrees when it is hurting. It keeps the peace and slowly hollows you out from the inside. Most people spend their whole life swinging between these two. Too loud, then too quiet. Too hard, then no edge at all. You already know this feeling, because you have been in that room, the one where your voice rose and the air changed, or the one where you had the right words and let them die in your throat. Neither voice is strength. There is an ancient story about a king who wore both, and an old woman by a river who showed him there was a third way.
The kingdom of Kale sat between gray mountains, where the wind carried the smell of cold stone. Kale had ruled for 11 years, and in that time, not one person had touched him willingly. Not a hand on his shoulder, not a single embrace. He did not notice this. He only noticed when people disobeyed. His method was fire. When a servant dropped a plate, Kale's voice hit the walls like a hammer. "You are nothing," he would say, leaning forward on his throne, the iron spikes of his crown catching the torchlight. "Do it again, and you will sleep outside the gates." The servant would bow, trembling, and Kale would feel a brief heat in his chest, something he mistook for power. But power does not need to make others small.
At night, alone, Kale sat in the dark of his chamber. His jaw ached from clenching. His shoulders had not dropped below his ears in years. The iron crown sat on the table beside his bed, and even there, even when no one was watching, he could feel its weight pressing into the bones of his skull. He was not strong. He was afraid. And fear dressed as anger is the loneliest disguise. One morning, Kale walked to the sea cliffs. He held the iron crown over the edge. The wind pulled at his robes. He let go. The crown fell without a sound, swallowed by gray water. "I will be kind now," he whispered. And he meant it. He returned to his palace and placed the wax crown on his head. It was white, smooth, and cool against his skin. For the first 3 days, it felt like medicine. But medicine taken without measure becomes poison. Kale stopped correcting anyone. When his chief advisor proposed a plan that would hurt the farmers, Kale opened his mouth and closed it again. "Perhaps you are right," he said, though his stomach turned. When traders lied about their taxes, Kale looked away. When his generals argued in front of him, shouting over each other, Kale sat still and said nothing. He believed that silence was respect. But silence without truth is not respect. It is surrender. The wax crown began to melt. In the heat of midday, white wax ran down his forehead and into his eyes. He could not see clearly. He could not think clearly. The kingdom he had once gripped too tightly was now slipping through his open fingers, and he could not close them. On the 7th day, Kale left his palace through the back gate, alone, wearing no crown at all. He walked into the forest until the trees swallowed every sound of the city. He walked until his legs burned and the path disappeared beneath ferns. He found her by the river, an old woman, sitting on a flat stone, placing smaller stones into the water one by one. Each stone changed the direction of the current slightly, not blocking the river, not surrendering to it, but guiding it. She did not look up. "You walk like a man who has been carrying something too heavy," she said. Her voice was low, unhurried, and then carrying nothing at all. Both are exhausting. Cale sat beside the river. The cold water ran over his boots, and he did not care. "I had 2 crowns," he said. "One was iron. It made me cruel. One was wax. It made me invisible. I threw them both away, and now I have nothing." The old woman reached into the stream and lifted a small, smooth stone. Water ran off it, catching the light. "Iron is not strength," she said. "It is fear of being weak. And wax is not kindness. It is fear of being disliked." She placed the stone into a gap between 2 larger rocks. The water, which had been splashing wildly, smoothed into a calm, steady flow. "Watch the river," she said. "The stone does not fight the water. It does not move out of the way. It simply holds its place, and the water finds its path around it." She looked at him for the first time. Her eyes were clear and warm. "You do not need a crown. You need a voice. One that speaks what is true, without cutting. One that listens without disappearing." Cale returned to his palace the next morning. His advisor came to him with the same failing plan. Cale did not shout. He did not look away. He looked the man in the eye and said, "I hear what you are saying. I understand your thinking. But this plan will hurt the people who grow our food, and I cannot allow that. Let us find a better way, together." His voice was steady, not loud, not soft, like a stone in the river.
Cale had 2 crowns. Most people do. The iron crown is not cruelty. It is fear wearing armor, a belief that the world only respects force. The wax crown is not kindness. It is fear wearing a smile, a belief that the world only keeps you if you agree. Both crowns, same material. Fear. The old woman did not give Cale a lesson. She gave him a river. The stone does not fight the water. It does not move aside. It holds its place, and the water finds its way around it, smoother than before. That is the third voice. Not louder, not softer, clear. It speaks what is true without needing to wound. It holds its ground without needing to disappear. Cale used it. His words were not sharp. They were not hollow. They were simply true. And the room listened. Think about your last difficult conversation. Not the words, the feeling in your body. Did your chest tighten, your jaw lock, your voice rise? That was the iron crown. Or did your throat close, your eyes drop, your words dissolve before they reached your lips? That was the wax crown. Now imagine the river. Imagine the stone, steady, calm, unmoved but not aggressive. What would your golden voice sound like? Not louder, not quieter, just clear. This week, find one moment where you would normally react with iron or melt into wax. And instead, hold your place. Speak what is true. Listen to what comes back. The river will find its way. Keep seeking, keep growing, and keep shining. Subscribe to join us for the next one.